Welcome to this Halloween story from Alaska. If you're not already subscribed, now would be a good time to hit that subscribe button. Now on with the story.
Our story begins in Fairbanks, a town where the long, dark winters blur the line between reality and shadow. It was October, and the first dusting of snow had already begun to settle, covering everything in a deceptive blanket of white. Dr. Anya Petrova, a young anthropologist, and her pragmatic husband, Mark, had just moved to Fairbanks, drawn by Anya's research into local folklore and the promise of a quiet life. They bought an old cabin on the outskirts of town. Owners had left abruptly, leaving behind most of their belongings, and a cryptic note scrawled on the kitchen wall. "The frost takes more than heat." Anya dismissed it as eccentricity, Mark as a bad joke. As Halloween approached, the strange occurrences began. First, it was the cold spots, patches of air so frigid they felt like solid ice, even with the heating blasting. Then came the whispers, faint, guttural sounds, like ancient voices murmuring just beyond hearing, always seeming to come from the floorboards. Anya, ever the scientist, attributed it to the settling house, the wind, or her overactive imagination fueled by her research into Native Alaskan spiritual beliefs. One night, Anya was working late in her study, documents on her desk about the Inua, the spirits believed to inhabit all things. A chill swept through the room, making the papers flutter. She looked down to see small, muddy footprints appearing on the pristine wooden floor, leading from the corner of the room directly towards her chair, then vanishing. Her heart pounded. This was no draft. Mark, a practical man, suggested the house had foundation issues. He went into the crawl space, intending to inspect the ground beneath. He returned moments later, his face ashen, clutching a handful of damp, dark earth. "Anya," he stammered, "there's a burial site. Under the house. It looks disturbed." Anya's research had mentioned ancient burial mounds, often found near riverbanks, sometimes tragically disturbed by modern development. This house was built right on top of one. The previous owner's warning echoed in her mind. The frost takes more than heat. It wasn't about the cold. It was about what the cold preserved. The whispers grew louder, more distinct. They sounded like wailing, like grief, like anger. Objects would move. A precious ancestral carving Anya had bought would turn to face the wall. A heavy book would slide off the shelf. Anya started seeing fleeting figures in the periphery of her vision. Gaunt, shadowy forms with elongated limbs, almost skeletal, their eyes hollow pits of despair. They were the Chilkat dancers, ancient spirits of the land, disturbed from their permafrost slumber. Halloween night arrived, a blizzard raging outside, trapping them in the cabin. The power flickered. A deep guttural moan resonated from beneath their feet, shaking the very foundations of the house. The temperature plummeted, frost forming on the inside of the windows. In the flickering candlelight, Anya saw them clearly now, the skeletal figures, outlined in a faint blue luminescence, emerging from the floorboards, slowly, deliberately. They moved with a chilling, undulating dance, their gazes fixed on Anya and Mark. Their whispers filled the room, not words, but a cacophony of ancient sorrow and furious indignation. Anya, remembering her research, understood. These spirits weren't evil. They were tormented, their resting place desecrated, their energy siphoned by the unnatural warmth of the house above them. They wanted their peace. They wanted the house gone. Mark, terrified but resolute, grabbed an old ceremonial drum Anya had acquired. Anya, with a desperate surge of inspiration, began to chant an ancient protection song from her research, a plea to the spirits of the land to guide the lost. As Mark beat the drum, a rhythmic, mournful thud, Anya's voice rose, cutting through the chilling wails. The figures paused, their glowing eyes fixed on her. The chanting and drumming were not driving them away, but acknowledging them. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, the figures began to recede, not vanishing, but melting back into the floorboards, their blue glow dimming. The cold began to lessen, the whispers fading to a faint, mournful sigh. By dawn, the house was silent, the air still frigid, but the unsettling presence was gone. Anya and Mark moved out of the cabin the very next day. They sold the property to the local historical society, with Anya providing all her research, urging them to respect the land and its ancient inhabitants. The old cabin stands empty now, a monument to the whispers beneath the permafrost, a reminder that in Fairbanks, some chills are truly ancient, and some truths are best left undisturbed in the frozen earth.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.